you really, really don't know how you're gonna feel, the emotions you're gonna go through, the communication issues you're gonna have, the sleepless nights because, you know, you're home by yourself and you hear a creepy noise that's driving you crazy.
Adventures from the Homefront. I'm Kate, this is Jessica, Olivia, and our special guest today, Jordan. So we're going to be talking about adjusting to military culture as a new spouse. So Jordan, what is your relationship to the military?
My husband is Navy. He's stationed in Norfolk on a destroyer.
More Navy.
Yes. I think she's the first to have a husband on a destroyer, though. I think we've had sub and then carrier. So you're the small ship life.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Not as fun as everybody makes it out to be.
I guess the other question is, what would be the best piece of advice that you could give to another new military spouse, being, you know, yourself as a new military spouse?
I guess don't expect them as your spouse to have all of the answers. I expect my husband to know everything like the back of his hand, and he really doesn't, and so we forget to communicate that. And so when he comes home and he's like, oh, by the way, this happened, or my ship is leaving on this day, I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me as soon as you found out? And he's like, well, I just found out yesterday, so
yeah. And I was on duty all night long.
Yeah, he was like,
and I couldn't call you.
There was no communicate. I mean, okay.
Isn't that funny how we expect our spouses to just have all the answers sometimes? Not even when it comes to only the military thing, but just in general, it's
I'm like, what do you mean you don't know?
No. You know everything,
or
right?
When they ask us, where's the ketchup? And I'm like, right in front of your eyeballs.
Yeah, he literally was like, hey, so why don't we have ranch in the fridge? And I'm like, we just bought ranch at the store, and it's right there in the door, bud. But okay, but I can't ask you a question about a piece of wood that you're cutting right now.
PT clothes. Where are my PT clothes? Okay, in the second drawer down. They're folded. It's on the left side. Everything's color-coded.
You can tell your husband without being there, but your husband can't tell you something while he's doing it. Okay,
yeah. It's fine. Whatever.
It's game over at that.
All right, now that we're done.
Yeah.
So what would be the best thing about being a new military spouse?
Being away from home, and the fact that I get my own personal schedule. Because before I was still living at home and I lived back in Texas, and so it was, if I wanted to go somewhere, it'd be, hey mom, I'm going here. And now I just had this conversation with my husband yesterday. We were going to the Taco Fest, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna text my mom and be like, hey, I'm going to the Taco Fest. And I was like, no, she can find out on Facebook. Because I don't have to tell her, I get to live life on my terms.
Yeah.
And so even though my husband's not here 24/7, when he is home, I get to be okay, I'm gonna up and leave the house right now, instead of being hey, we need to plan this a week in advance so that my mom knows that I'm not gonna be home, because I have two little sisters that I helped my mom care for because my dad works in Afghanistan. So I get to live on my own terms, and that's amazing to me.
That's really cool.
I think for me it's a constant adventure. You never know what's gonna happen next. I've been to so many amazing places, and I've talked about this before. I would have never gone to Charleston or upstate New York, all the cool places that we've been together. We went on our honeymoon and went to different places, and just the adventure of going through and doing things that other 20, 21-year-olds don't really get to do without literally working their butts off through everything else. It's nice to have that.
I like the fact that you look at it from the positive standpoint, because a lot of people would be oh, it's constantly changing, that's not fun, but in the reality of things that makes it fun, that it's constantly changing, you're constantly seeing new things.
I may not love all the food down here, but there's a couple places that there's good things too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I would say too, depending on where your spouse was in his military career when you married him, because my husband and I, we got married before he joined, so that's totally different than somebody who, say, maybe you've been dating your spouse for a long time and you've had that separation between you guys because of the military, and then all of a sudden it's you're married and oh my gosh, I get to be with the man I love, the woman I love, that whole experience of just being newlyweds and being with your best friend like 24/7 after living so long apart. Or just for me and my husband, just that, you know, we were already married, but that, like you said, that excitement of just starting a new chapter in our lives in a new city, in a new town, and just, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
New people, like, it's amazing, like, the friendships you build.
Yeah.
And, like, friendships that you would not have had. Like,
Right, it's amazing, but so hard at the same time. Like, my really good friend that I just met out here, she just got orders to Ohio.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
well, guess you're gonna have to go visit Ohio now.
Yeah, right. That's what I said. I was like, so you can have a guest bedroom, right?
Yeah. That's the thing, military spouses, like couples, you don't ever have to pay for a hotel room eventually.
right.
You'll
Here
just
and
know
here.
somebody everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about you, Kate? Any
Positives.
positives or...
I think you guys about said it all. Cause like one of the biggest things for me is just like getting out and meeting people that when my husband is on duty or he was on an underway, like I can just go and spend time with, you know, someone. That way I'm not going stir crazy in the house, because that was a big thing for me, like staring at a blank wall, like, you know, there's only so much that's gonna happen, like,
Yeah.
so.
Making those friends, right?
That's cool. What is one thing that you did not expect when you became a military spouse?
Communication is not what you think it's gonna be.
Ding ding.
And that was like we've talked, like, the hard thing that I personally had to learn was like exactly what Jordan was saying, like your husband doesn't have all the answers. Like there is times when I'm like, okay, like you should have your orders by now, like we're supposed to be like stationed there in a month, like we should know what's happening. But just through, there's so many people in the military that it does take a lot for them to get those orders back down to you. So learning to have those patience and being accepting of the communication errors that happen. But it's hard. You get through it.
I would say like the hours. So, you know, in Charleston, like when they're going through school, you know, they're at work for like 20 hours. So having to adjust to like when he comes home, he wants to go straight to sleep. He doesn't want to stay up and like, even though he loves you, you know, he's tired, he's cranky. He doesn't want to spend the last couple hours of sleep that he has. So having to adjust to that was pretty hard. But once I fully like, you know, put myself in his position, and I think that happened when I had to drive to pick him up at midnight when he had already left at like 6:30 that morning. So I was like, I don't know how he does this, because I was exhausted because I had to take him to work. So, you know, I think that's probably one of the big things.
Yeah, it like switched, like a light bulb was like, oh, I get it now. Like this is what you deal with every day, and it's hard for sure. I think that the biggest thing that I didn't expect was I felt like, so 3 of us at this table are nuke wives, and I think that kind of gives you a little bit of a cushion for a little bit, because the schooling, the A school for nukes is usually about 2 years. So I knew going into it, when he signed his paperwork to join the Navy, that he was going to go off to boot camp for a little bit. And then I was going to meet him in Charleston, and we were going to be together for 2 years before he ever stepped foot on a boat. And I think it kind of, you build this bubble around yourself, and you tell yourself, yeah, I know he'll deploy someday, but it just seems like it's awfully far away. And you get comfortable, and you know it's coming, but you don't really think about it. So for the first 2 years, I was like living in my little bubble of like, this is great, like I love this is awesome. Even though he was gone a lot for work, it still was like at the end of the day he came home. You know what I mean? And then the culture shock for me didn't really happen until he got to sea duty. And as much as you tell yourself like, I'm ready for this, I know what to expect, I'm prepared, like that's great. And people will tell you all the time, well, you knew what you signed up for. I think I've said that before. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when people are like, Why are you complaining? Like, you knew what you were getting into when you married this man, or when he decided to join the military and stuff like that. And that's great, and to an extent I feel like you do. But you really, really don't know how you're gonna feel, the emotions you're gonna go through, the communication issues you're gonna have, the sleepless nights because, you know, you're home by yourself and you hear a creepy noise that's driving you crazy and your husband's gone. And so you're like, I don't know, do I sleep with like a bat, you know, by my bed? I don't know. It's just,
grab the kitchen knife.
yeah, it's
Right.
hard to prepare yourself for the little things that sneak up on you. And that's, I would say, when my husband finally got to sea duty, got on a boat, got underway, got on his first deployment, that's when the culture shock of being a new, even though it was 2 years into being a military spouse, being a new military spouse really hit me.
I'm gonna be almost 5 years into being a military spouse before he goes off on a deployment.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to like.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be exactly what you're saying. Like, I don't look forward to it, but again, seems so far away. It's another like year and a half, 2 years before. Yeah.
But some
I think-
people
Go
get
ahead.
thrown. No, sorry. I was gonna say, but I feel really blessed to have had that time because some people, you know,
Boot
they
camp.
get married, their husband goes to boot camp, and then they get deployed like
Gone.
immediately. They have no
Yeah.
adjustment or like honeymoon phase of military life. It's just, well, sign on the dotted line and here we go. You know, and they just,
Yeah. See you in
Get
9
into it.
months. Yeah.
yeah.
I think, like you said, like people say all the time, oh, you knew what you signed up for, and I get that a lot because my husband was already in the Navy by the time we got married, and they're like, oh, well, you knew, like he was already in, you knew what to expect, blah blah blah. But at the same time, he was in the yards when we got married, so like you said, he went to work and he came home every single night. And then as soon as we got married, he started cranking. So like I don't know if that's a thing for nukes, probably not, but he was working on the mess deck, so he was working 16 to 20 hour days instead of 9-hour days. And so I saw him less, and like you said, he wanted to come home and go straight to bed, and I was like, wait, no, I want to spend time together, but I have to be understanding of the fact that he wants his sleep too.
Yeah.
But I don't like being told you knew what you signed up for when, like, yes, I know, but I didn't have the adjustment phase. It was just all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. And now it's been like underway after underway after underway.
Yeah, I put it like this. Like, people always say, like, you know, I didn't know how hard being a parent was going to be until I became a parent.
Right.
Even though everybody and their brother tells you it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, it's the most rewarding thing you'll ever do, but it is hard. It is so, so hard. And you're like, yeah, I'm so excited to be pregnant and to get these little baby clothes and, you know, just the
That's the
normal,
fun part.
like the fun, like, excitement of having a baby. And in your mind, you're like, yeah, it is going to be hard. But when it hits you, when you actually become a parent, then you're like, oh, I get it, you know? So it's the same with becoming a military spouse or any big major life change that you have in your life. There's going to be that moment where it's like, yeah, I knew it, but I didn't know it until it happened.
You like knew it, but you didn't know it.
Exactly. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me though, like, yeah, communication is really hard because you expect they're on the ship. How do they not know? Or they're on a boat, I guess, if your husbands are on boats. Or the fact that like people are gonna tell you knew what you got into, whatever. But hardest thing for me was leaving home. My little sister is my world. I told you when we first talked. My little sister is my world. She has special needs. She's
What's her name?
Brittany.
Hi, Brittany.
She is 15. My mom actually just called me the other day and she was like, you need to come home. And I was like, what do you mean I need to come
Oh
home?
my gosh.
My little sister is in 8th grade, so they're having their 8th grade formal, and my little sister wants me to go dress shopping with her, and like I can't go home. Like I can't be there for her. And then in the month of April she had 4 eye surgeries, so it's like not being there for my little sister has been the absolute hardest thing for me. And it's been hard on my husband because all he wants is for me to be there for her because he sees how hard it is for me emotionally. But I thought going away from home would be easier, and it was to an extent. My mom and I's relationship has gotten so much better. She's always been my best friend, but we butt heads because we're so much alike. So now that I'm away, we talk when good things or bad things happen in our life, and we're not talking 24/7, or I'm not living with her and she sees the negative things that go on in my life. And so I thought being away would be easier, but when my little sister calls me, Sissy, I need you, that's when it like hits me really,
Breaks
really
your
hard.
heart.
And it like just hits that point where I'm like, I need to go home. But I can't because home is with my husband, which is here.
Yeah,
So
that's really hard. We struggle with that too, being away from my kids' grandparents. That's always hard because they never expected to live away from their grandchildren, and so I hear all the time, like a hair stuck on me and it's bugging me. I don't know. I just got, alright, whatever. Yeah, so, you know, my parents never expected to have their grandchildren live on the other side of the country because we are from the West Coast and we're stationed on the East Coast, and it's so hard because the relationship that I had with my grandparents growing up was like, you know, so close, just extremely close. And I want that for my kids, and, you know, my kids know mostly grandma, grandpa from, you know, the other side of a screen, from like FaceTime.
Yep.
And not to say that they don't come visit and we go visit them, because that happens often, but it's just different. And that's one thing that, yeah, it's hard because you have this family back home, but now your husband is your new family. And I think the thing that helped us with that is starting like our own little traditions as a family that really makes it feel more like home, even though you're away from your family.
yeah, I made sure that I did that this year, because this year was like our first Thanksgiving together, our first Christmas, our first Halloween, whatever. Like everything was our first, and so Thanksgiving, of course, my husband had to work, so I just like, we invited some sailors over from his ship because there are single sailors who don't have family and they shouldn't have to stay in the barracks on Thanksgiving. So I like invited them over, but all day I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm by myself in my house. Of course I have my dog, I love that guy, but it's not human interaction. So I just like sat on FaceTime all day with my mom, and like we cooked together in the kitchen because my mom was at home cooking, I was cooking, and so it was like we were spending Thanksgiving together.
That should be your tradition every year that you guys are apart. You guys should cook together.
Yeah, and that's
on
what I told her. I
FaceTime.
was like,
love that.
I loved being able to spend Thanksgiving together. In my house, Thanksgiving and Christmas are like huge holidays, and I took advantage of that when I was in high school, and I was like, thought I was with the guy that I was going to be with forever, and I left on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it literally destroyed my mom's heart. And so my first Christmas that I was back home, I was no longer with this guy. She left on Christmas Day to like go to the store, and she was helping one of our friends with something, and it broke my heart. I was like, my mom left me, and like I just sat in the kitchen and cried, and when she came home, my eyes change colors when I cry, so she knew I had been crying, and she was like, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? And I was like, I now understand how you have felt for the past 2 years.
It's hard.
And she was like, that was the best Christmas present you could have ever given me. And we just like stood in the kitchen and like cried, and like, because making cookies was our tradition on Christmas, and she left while we were making cookies.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
It's so hard. Sometimes like it takes you leaving to like realize how awesome things were, but then it just, from now on, every time that you go home and visit your family, it's going to be that much more special. Like you're not going to take it for granted anymore, one, and two, like you're going to cherish those moments and make every second count. So that's one thing I've noticed is a positive about being a military spouse or being a new military spouse, is that you really learn to cherish the time that you do have with your family and that you do have with your spouse, and it makes it more special because it's so easy to take things for granted when you see your spouse every day and to just go through the motions. But I've always said, like, that is a blessing. Even though they're gone and it hurts and it's hard, it's also a blessing on your marriage, on your family, because you learn not to take each other for granted and you learn to cherish the time that you have, and that is something irreplaceable.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So
I agree. I tell my husband all the time, like, when we're together, I want us to be 110% together, but at the same time, like, he needs to have an identity outside of the Navy and outside of our marriage, and that was really hard for me when we first got married, because I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, when you're off on the weekend, you don't want to be with me, like, you're gonna go out with your friends. That doesn't make any sense. Like, you see those friends at work, and it's not the same. Like, seeing them at work versus like going out and going to eat dinner together, it's not the same as being at work.
I definitely understand where you're coming from there because in Charleston, we did absolutely everything together. Like, if his friends wanted to go out to a bar or, you know, go bowling or whatever it may be, he always was like, hey, honey, you want to come with me? And of course, like, I'm going to jump on board because I haven't, you know, spent that much time with them. But here, I've had to somewhat try and adjust to something new because he's like, oh, hey, yeah, I just want to go out with the guys, like, on my own. And, you know, one, it's hard because we have a son. But two, like, you know, he needs that time away. You know, I know he loves his family. I know he loves spending time with us, but he needs that, you know, time to himself. But I'm not used to it because in Charleston, he always invited me. I was always with him. And so now he's like, yeah, I just need my time. And I'm like, yeah,
I
but
think it's a stress thing.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, when you're in school, not that it's not stressful, it is, but then when you get to a boat, you have way more responsibilities, or a ship. Is it a ship or a boat? Is that horrible
A
of me?
ship is a carrier, a sub is considered a boat.
Yeah, so
Because
if it's
it
a sub,
depends.
it's a boat. And then
That- I
like
should
the
know that.
destroyer,
It's so bad.
a destroyer, a carrier, an LSD, all of those are ships.
Okay.
They can't be
So
put
my
on a
husband's
trailer.
on a boat, and I always mess that up. And
I
I
it's a
called my
ship.
husband's a boat because it's so small. You walk on it and you're like,
Yeah.
like destroyers are tiny. There's 350 people max on his ship.
Yeah.
So like a ship, I think 3,000 like a carrier. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, how? They're not the same size. That should be a boat also.
That's why they go through 2 years of schooling.
Yeah. And see, new spouses, like even 5 years in, you don't know anything. Everything you think you know will change, and whenever you get comfortable, you'll.
So if you
have
say
to-
anything with confidence, people outside the military will believe you.
Yeah, that's true.
I have like been super confident about certain things that I think I know in regards to James's work, and then he'll be like, you know, honey, it's this, and I'm like, no, like I try and correct him, like I know his
Yeah.
job, and he's like, honey, who's the one who works?
I always I post like requisite, not prerequisite, but like I always say like that could be completely wrong, but you know that's just how I think it is in my head. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But very true, like their jobs are hard and they do need an outlet to de-stress.
Yeah,
I know we're
sometimes.
kind of similar because our husband's game.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
So like, oh, you're like,
I'm so glad that he does not. Like,
Oh my goodness.
I was like, I can't sit in front of a TV for that long.
yeah.
Like, I sit and play with a baby because I nanny. So like when I go home, the last thing I want to be doing is sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
So like I'm so thankful that he doesn't play games.
Over the weekend, James took our dining room table and pushed it up against the other wall, moved the chairs around, and then went into our bedroom and grabbed his computer, monitor, keyboard, everything, set it up, and then put his headphones on and for hours just play this game. I'm like, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Like,
You also don't forget about your wife.
We got a second bedroom so
Oh my
we could
gosh.
have a computer room. And literally half of it is computers that are the size of my entire body. It's a lot. And he'll sit there and he's like, I just want to play one more match. And I'm like, yeah, okay, then it's going to be 10 o'clock at night and we're going to bed.
Yeah.
So I have to give my husband huge props. Like, I don't know how the man does what he does.
Functions.
He is the best husband. He is so good to me. He is so good to our kids. He's there for everything. Like, he's so hands-on. And he does game. That is his stress relief. But do you know when he does it? Yeah, when we are all sleeping. When me and my boys are asleep. That's when he gets on and has his me time. And I keep telling him,
When does he sleep?
Right?
he doesn't. I don't know.
What?
He doesn't. I don't know how he functions. He says, oh, I only need about 3 hours of sleep and I'm good. I'm like, woo.
My husband
Okay.
is Mr. Cranky Pants if he gets less than 6 hours of sleep.
And he wakes up on 3 hours of sleep and he's like an angel. I don't know how he does it, but he is amazing. And he's always, I think after it all, not that it changed. He was always great dad, great husband, even before he was deployed. But once he went on his first deployment, he saw, like I saw a huge change in him because he came back and he didn't want to go out with his friends on the weekend. Like even when they would ask him, he's like, no, I'm good. Like I want to stay with my family because he knows what it's like to be without us.
Yeah.
And so now I have to like tell him, it's okay. Go to the movies with your friends. Go see Endgame. That's fine. Like go have fun. Like
You let him
do
go see
these
Endgame
things.
without you?
Yeah, because
I'm
then
kidding.
he watched the kids like another night in the week, and I went by myself to go to the movies, and I loved going to the movies by myself.
I
There
heard
was-
that's a huge thing. Like, once you have kids, like, you want to just go do it by yourself.
It's so nice.
I don't have kids, so I don't understand, but
Yeah.
Well, when I was younger, I would see like people going to the movies by themselves, and I'd be like, "Oh, how sad for you!"
Right.
Like, how
There's
sad.
so many other things that I want to do by myself that I won't go to the movies. I'll go walk around Target for like hours though.
oh, if I walked around Target for more than an hour, I would definitely spend way too much money.
See, I do. So I'll
dangerous.
pick up everything and then I look at it and I'm like, I don't need any of this, and put it back. Like I'm there long enough to process
I
through my
understand.
impulse buying.
That's
Yeah.
why my husband won't go shopping with me, because I grab all this stuff that I'm like, and he's like, all right, you ready to buy it? Like, he gets super excited for me, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna put this back. I think I'm gonna put this back. And he's like, we're never doing this ever again.
He's like, you never buy anything.
James is totally the gas, and you're totally the brakes.
Oh, he
I
has
love
no
it.
impulse control whatsoever. I'm sorry,
I
honey,
love
it's the
it.
truth.
Oh my goodness.
I think, like, you were talking about you bought a second bedroom just for the gaming room, and I feel that on a personal level because I'm obsessed with buying clothes and doing my hair and doing my makeup. Like, I love, like,
That's
the
because
being...
you're gorgeous.
Thank you. I love, like, the being done up thing. So my husband and I were talking about, like, our next duty station. We're going to buy a house. And currently we live in a 2-bedroom. We have our guest bedroom. So when my parents come visit, his parents come visit, friends, family, whatever, they have a place to sleep. And he was like, well, we have to get a 3-bedroom next. And I was all, whoa. Kids are not happening yet. Not ready. I want us to enjoy, like, our 20s and just have a good time. I do want both of our kids before we turn 30, but
You got
I have
time.
plenty of time.
Time.
Yeah, like, time can pass. And he was like, no, like, you need a whole room for your clothes and your hair and your makeup. And I was like, you are the realist right now. Like, I literally have so much clothes. Our closet is full of just my stuff, and, like, he only gets a dresser. Like, that's all he gets.
Every girl watching this right now is like, she gets a beauty room. They're gonna go to their husbands and be like, I want a beauty room. Look, Jordan gets a beauty room. Can
Right.
I have one?
Right. And I think it is all Randy's fault, which is who owns the boutique that I do the modeling for, because she posts these clothes every day, and I'm like, I need that. And then she had me come on as an ambassador, and now I work for her, and it's just like, I want all of this.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh, a package came in today, like, can you come unbox it and tag everything? And I'm like, yeah. And then I pull it out, and I'm like, that's coming home with me, that one's coming home with me.
Yeah.
And then I come home with a whole bag, and my husband's like, babe,
You went to
Where-
work.
yeah, he's like, you went to work, and all of the money that she's paying you is going straight back to her.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's fine. Technically.
She's a good businesswoman.
She really
She's
is.
a good businesswoman.
How do you think you've learned to, like, adjust to your husband's schedule?
Communication. Even though it's not spot on all the time, the little bit of communication that he does get from his ship or from working alongside the XO or whatever, as soon as he finds something out, he comes to me. And he's like, hey, just a heads up, this could or could not happen. And so I think the fact that he's open enough to be like, hey, this is a possibility, has been really beneficial to me. Because if he says, hey, we're about to be gone for 3 months, I can mentally prepare for them being gone for 3 months. And then if it doesn't happen, well, good, because I already prepared for the worst.
Yeah.
So I think just accepting everything that he does tell me, even if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. With my husband, so he's on a duty schedule that's 4 days. So I took a Google Calendar and I put a recurring 4-day duty section, and so now he asks me when his duties
My
are.
husband does the
because
same
he's
thing.
like, I can't keep track of this.
We
I'm
make,
like, yeah.
we make plans, and he's like, wait, hold on. Do I have duty that day? Babe, check your calendar. And I'm like, how do I know?
How do
when
I know
have-
what you're doing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's great though. It works so well.
I'm sorry, I'm like distracted because my hubby's.
I like saw him, and I was like, he's recording us. He's just being, husband of the year. You already said it.
He
He's the
is
best.
husband of the year. Babe, how do we handle your schedule? What's good advice for people, for spouses in their husband's schedules?
Just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. There you
He's not
go.
wrong.
Straight from Chris's mouth. Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Don't get upset. What's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Right.
You
Yep.
have no control. They have no control.
Right, at the end of the day, it's not the husband's or the spouse's or whatever. It's not their fault.
A lot of the times, not the people that are in control have control over it.
Right.
So,
If you're a control freak, my husband always tells me, what is worrying about this going to do? It's not going to change anything. All it's going to do is put you in a bad mood. So just
That is me.
let it go.
110%. I am a planner. I am a type A person.
you will love my Google Calendar then.
Everything in my Google Calendar is like color coordinated, and my husband looks at it and he's like, "How do you what?" I'm like, "Every color has a meaning. Everything has a reason that it is that color." And he's like, I can't. Like, if you
Yeah.
tell me we're going here, we're going here." And I'm like, "Right, but I have to plan that then." And so when we got married and everything just started like hitting the fan, I was like, my calendar means nothing now.
Yeah.
Because I just have to.
I can plan my life
with it.
and what
Right.
I'm doing.
Right.
But you're just gonna be over there doing whatever.
I'll be like,
you
"Hey,
do.
I'll be here. If you could be here, be here. If you can't, well, then
Yeah.
you can't."
James is definitely the go with the flow kind of guy because I used to be exactly like that where I had to plan everything. And then he's just like, honey, you're sucking the fun out of it.
He tells me that all the time.
Fun sucker.
Yeah, he's like, "You're being kind of lame." I was like, rude.
Here's the thing though, if I don't have all the answers for my hubby, he just gets very upset. Because it's just like he gets stressed out about things. So if
Yeah.
I don't like, okay, we're going out to dinner, here's the outfit that you're wearing,
The outfits.
we'll be like having to leave 5 minutes ago and he'll be like stressing out because he can't find his dress pants.
Yeah, that's my husband. And you guys were talking about your husband's being nukes. My husband was supposed to be a nuke, but he's colorblind, so like he got kicked out and had to re-rate at
That's the
boot camp.
stupidest thing in the world.
Right, and so now it is really not working in my favor because he cannot pick clothes out. He will pick out like a dark blue and a light blue, and he's like, "This is gray," and I'm like, "That is not gray."
Honey, even if they're not colorblind, you still get that.
He's like, "Wait, what do you mean? This is gray and this is blue. Like blue and gray go together." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, kinda, but those are both blue and not the same shade."
So everybody in my husband's family or like friends from high school tells me like Chris used to he used to be a good dresser. Like he used to look sharp everywhere he went. Like his clothes, everything was perfect. Like he'd go to the store and get nice things. And now that he has a family, like I have to beg him to buy a new shirt. Like if it's not a sponsorship shirt that they're giving out at like, you know, an event that we're going to or a garage sale find, like he doesn't buy himself clothes. I have literally bought him clothes, not anything expensive. Like I've gone to Old Navy and I've gotten him like some new t-shirts and, you know, a couple pairs of pants, and he will go and return them. He'll be like, "I don't need this. Like we can save our money on something else." And so he still looks good at whatever he wears, but he just is like, I don't believe people when they tell me like he used to get all snazzy when he would go out. I'm like, my husband?
You're like,
No.
"Are you sure we're talking
Are you
about
sure?
the same
Person?
But he like, there's every once in a while he'll let me like get him something, or he'll spend the money on himself after some pushing, and he cleans up real nice. He looks good.
See, James, he's very stingy on his clothes as well. He's like, I'll just wear it until I can't wear it anymore.
Yep.
And then he won't go and buy new clothes. But they always have to be the nicest looking clothes. So he only ever wears button-up shirts and then either like a nice pair of jeans or khakis or chinos. And his shoes like are always really nice, a lot nicer than mine.
She's not mad at all.
No salty over here.
No, there's no shade.
No.
It's fine.
But I'm like, you are literally walking out looking better than myself because I have like, you know, my hair up in a bun ready to go. Like,
I don't know if I believe that. You look good in whatever
See,
you wear.
Jeff's wardrobe, like his uniform outside of work, is a pair of Levi jeans that are way too big for him and a t-shirt. So we're working him out of that. Got him a pair of chinos, and now whenever we go out, that's what he wears, is the one pair of chinos that we've worked into his wardrobe. And I'm like, we need to get you more.
That sounds
nice
like a
clothes.
win, though.
It's a win.
I cannot get my husband out of
bought-
khaki shorts. I'm like,
bought-
take those off. He has this one pair that he absolutely loves, and they have a paint stain on them. I told him not to paint in those shorts because they were his favorite. What did he do? Painted in the shorts. Anyways, that's all he wears. He refuses. I'm like, let's just go get you the exact same shorts without paint on them. And he's like, no, I like these ones. They've been broken in. And that's all he wears. And he like takes them off wears them like 4 times. I wash them. Where do they go? Right back on his body. And I'm like,
Yep.
at some point I will win, right?
Can I show you guys something? I don't know if I'll keep this in the video because I have to ask my husband first. Let me just show you a pair of shoes that he bought before he joined the military in preparation. They were his running shoes to get in shape for, let me just, hold on one second. Because up until, hold on.
This is my favorite thing.
This shoe right here, my husband wore this shoe every day. Sorry, you're like, oh my God. Look at this. Look at this hole.
The like whole
in the side.
bottom is like flat at this point.
Yeah, there's a hole here. Like, look.
You could probably stick your hand through the.
Hey.
Look.
There's sandals now. Now he doesn't need a pair of sandals.
He wears them to the beach.
It's fine.
It's breathing holes.
He's been in the Navy. It'll be 5 years this May. He bought these to get ready for boot camp, and he wore them every day for almost 5 years, to the point where not only was I begging him to get shoes, not only was like my mother every time, which probably drove him crazy, but like everybody on the ship, when he would wear these things on the ship before he would change into his uniform, they would be like, do you need some money? Like, can we?
Do you need some help?
Yeah, they were like, can we just like pitch in and I'll buy you some shoes? Like, this is sad. And so leave a comment down below if you guys have husbands or spouses who don't like to spend money on themselves, but will like spend money on their family till
The day's long.
yeah,
Yeah.
like for anything that we need. He'd be like, oh yeah, let's go get it. But yeah, I finally made him go buy an $11 pair of shoes that we found at Old Navy. They were on sale. And he's, you know what he said? He's like, $11? I wish they were 10. I was like, oh my gosh, they're just, take them.
Just buy them, please.
And then the cashier, as we were checking out, because I'm like, put them on right now, you're wearing them out at the store. They were like, oh, can I get rid of these ones for you? Those lovely red shoes. He's like, no.
He was like, I still need those ones. I can still wear
I'm
them.
like, what are you gonna wear those shoes? Like, I don't know, I'm not getting rid of them. I'm like, okay.
They've been in his life for 5 years. Like, that's kind of a commitment. So.
That's longer than both of his kids.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So sorry, super side tangent. Like, you guys are like, I thought this was about, you know, adjusting to military.
So
I mean,
that's
is.
adjusting for him.
It's adjusting for all of us. We have to deal with them all day long.
Yeah. So I'll have to ask if I can put that in the video, but hopefully
Yeah.
he'll say yes, because I think, you know, maybe somebody out there can relate to that.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah.
Alright guys, well, let's wrap this up. What advice do you guys have for new military spouses? Let's get back on track here. What one piece of advice you'd give for a new military spouse on how to adjust to this crazy life we live?
Probably exactly what we've been saying. Go with the flow. You're never going to have all the answers. They're not going to be able to give them to you. Nobody else is, no matter where you go on the internet. Just go with the flow. It'll all work out how it's supposed to. What's meant to be is going to be. So,
Yeah, that's good.
My piece of advice would just be like, try to find the positive in everything. So like you said, like taking advantage of being someplace new and meeting new people, meeting amazing people. Like clearly I never would have met y'all had I not commented on your post on
Yeah.
Facebook. But just, I see posts all the time. Oh my gosh, I hate living in Virginia. I hate being stationed here, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I have loved being here. I can't really find something that would be like terrible about living here.
The pizza.
Yeah, I mean, well, and like barbecue. I'm from Texas, so like barbecue and Mexican food, those are like what I live off of, and you can't get that here like you can in Texas. So, but realistically,
Yeah.
like find the positive in everything. Get out of the house.
So actually just this morning I posted a video that we did with a lovely guest host named Ashton, and it was called Bloom Where You're Planted, and it's all about having a positive mindset and taking that with you to each duty station, to each new experience, and blooming where you're planted, and to really get out there in your community and to get out of the house and just to go at it from a positive place and not a negative place, and make that decision and say, I'm going to make this a good experience. I'm going to make this a good time. I'm not going to focus on the negatives. I'm going to focus on the positives, and I'm going to choose to be happy. And I think that's what you got to do. Just make that choice to be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
We're making you go last again.
Yeah. We took all the good things.
We're like, hey.
I would probably say, like, when it comes to your spouse, just try and, like, make things a little bit easier on them, which for those spouses as well, like, they should also do the same back. But what I mean by that is, like, ask them how their day was, like, you know, if you've been home, and, like, whenever they get home, you know, just talk to them, see what, you know, because sometimes they just need a vent. Sometimes they've had such a long day, and if they don't want to talk about it, then just let them go play video games or something, because that's what I had to learn. I would constantly nag my husband, be like, well, how was your day? Why were you upset about this? What about this? And he's like, honey, I just need a minute. So I think, you know, if you do that, if your spouse does want to talk about it, or they just want to be left alone, like, try and give them that time. Because one, like, I know for us, it's made our marriage stronger, and two, you just kind of understand a little bit more of what their daily life is like. So
That's good.
Yeah, my husband comes home sometimes and he's like, I just need 15 minutes, please. And I'm like, at first, like you said, it was really hard. Like, I was like, wait, no, I want to talk. I've been in a house all day, wait. And then I look back and I'm like, well, 15 minutes really isn't that long in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. It's true.
alright guys, I guess that wraps up for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. But before we go, Jordan works for M&B Boutique, and she has a coupon code. So if you wanted to talk about that real fast.
Yeah. So I work for M&B Boutique. It is currently strictly online. We will be opening up a storefront here shortly. Randy Salinger is the owner of it. She started it just to really be a more present mom, so that she wasn't having to go to work, and she was willing to be with her kids full time. So this boutique is for her children. She brought me on as an ambassador, so I do have an ambassador discount code. I will give it to Jessica so that she can add it in the description. I'll give her the website, everything. You guys can go ahead and go on that website, but the discount code is Jordan10, so you'll receive 10% off. And she is running specials all the time, so I'll give my Instagram name to Jessica also so that she can leave that, and I always share any discount code that she's offering that's above my 10%.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I can't wait to go shop.
I know. That's what I was
I'm like looking at your outfit. I'm like,
Oh, let me
"Ooh, you're
just-
so cute." Yes, model for us.
These pants are from M&B, and then I'm wearing some platform sandals that are also from her. And I
girl.
literally love any of her clothes. I'm wearing them all the time.
These look like they'd be so cute for summer, like just breezy.
Yeah, no, they're
and-
like super thin. They're not heavy at all, and I love it.
Awesome. So cute. Can't wait.
Alright, did you want to...
Are you gonna do a little?
Oh yeah, and you guys be sure to, I'm gonna leave a little card up here somewhere, over there somewhere, somewhere, I don't know, just look for it. We're trying this new thing out. We're gonna leave a card linked to our Bloom Where You're Planted video. So I think that'll really help you guys if you're looking for different ways of how to acclimate to this lifestyle. Just go check that out. It'll give you a good positive mindset.
Thank y'all so much for having me on this episode.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Leave a comment down below and tell us, like, give her some love. Give Jordan
Yes.
some love, because she was awesome.
Thank y'all.
Alrighty. Well, that wraps up everything, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good day.
Bye.